What up, Hype Squad? It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video. And if you're new to the page, welcome to exceedthehype.com. To join the Hype Squad, all you gotta do is click subscribe, alright? So, it's the eve of the beginning of the next NBA season now. Eve of opening night for the NBA, right? Tomorrow, less than 24 hours from now, we're going to be seeing Kyrie Irving and LeBron going at it. We're going to see James Harden and Steph Curry going at it. You know, some of the best players in the NBA going at it for a whole nother season, right? So I figure, what better time would there be to bring the top 15 players in the NBA than now? All right, so we're going to kick it right off. Number 15, Damian Lillard. So Damian Lillard has been holding down Portland, the Portland Trailblazers, leading that team for years now. Year after year, he gets snubbed for the All-Star game. He has made one or two, I believe, but he's been snubbed more times than that. He gives you 27 points. He gives you 6 assists. He gives you the leadership, and he's just a tough guy. He's a gamer, right? So he, among the top point guards in the NBA, he's definitely among that class as well. And Damian Lillard is just a solid, really solid guy and a really good player, good basketball player. In today's NBA, where scoring point guards are very important, the way they score is a little bit different, but they're very important. They're kind of taking over, just like the wings were taking over. Portland is very fortunate to have a player of Damian Lillard's ability, right? Because Portland isn't necessarily a place where free agents go necessarily or whatever. So Portland, having drafted him along with CJ McCollum, are very lucky to have this guy. He's definitely a perennial all-star. Even if he doesn't make the all-star game, he's still an all-star, right? So Damian Lillard is number 15, all right? Number 14. Karl Anthony Towns. Now, Karl Anthony Towns will give you 25 points a game. He'll give you 12. He actually averaged 12.3 rebounds last season, which is insane, and about 1.3 blocks or whatever. He is a player in the mold of Anthony Davis. He's that type of an impact player. He's a versatile big who has, guard skills and who's quick and agile enough to get out on the perimeter for a little while and on switches or whatever to guard the little guys, right? But at the same time, he's strong and tall enough to guard the post. He can be a rim protector. Now, his defense has been complained about quite a bit, so we hope to see a step forward defensively, as he was a defensive stopper in college or whatever, so we obviously expected that to come over to the NBA. But Karl Anthony Towns is number 14 on my list. All right, number 13, we have DeMarcus Cousins. Now, DeMarcus Cousins has had a rough couple years. In Sacramento, he was widely considered to be like amongst the best big men in the NBA or whatever, because his ability to kind of do it all. He can score inside. He can be very dominant inside when he wants to. He has a little mid-range game. He can even score out to the three-point line. We obviously like to see a little bit more defensively from DeMarcus Cousins, and we like to see him maintain a little bit more control over his emotions and things of that nature. But he is, like I said, widely considered one of the best big men in the game at this point. Has the potential to be possibly like the most dominant player in the game right now if he truly wanted to. Now, he has bounced around from team to team, and he hasn't necessarily been in the best organizations or whatever when it comes to winning, with being in Sacramento for so many years and not having the requisite talent around him. But he is still the 13th best player in the NBA going into the 2017-2018 season. Number 12, we have Chris Paul. What can you really say about CP3? CP3 is the quintessential point guard, right? He is the most ideal type of distribute pass first point guard that you can create. I mean, he's like old school in that sense. He's like a Nash, probably not the score. Well, yeah, he's like a Nash. He's like a John Stockton. He's like a Jason Kidd. He's one of these true point guards. And in today's NBA, where that's becoming a little by little less important, he is still kind of holding it down for the true point guards in the NBA. So that's why Chris Paul is coming in at number 12. Also, talent-wise, he's gone to a team that's made up different, but I think will be coached better, and I think he's going to play with the best player that he's played in his career. Like, James Harden is better than, like, Blake Griffin. He's better than David West. He's better than Tyson Chandler. He's better than DeAndre. You know, James Harden is the best player Chris Paul has ever played with. And I think he's going to make things a lot easier for James, and James is going to make things a lot easier for Chris Paul. All right? So, with that being the case, Chris Paul is number 12 on my list. Number 11. Now, here's where it starts to get a little interesting. Number 11 is Jimmy Butler. Now, I've seen a lot of other lists. I've seen Sports Illustrated. I saw ESPN. I saw Bleachers. I've seen all the lists around ranking this person, this, and this person, this. And I've seen a lot of them having Jimmy Butler over like players like Paul George and things of that nature. And to me, that's why Jimmy Butler comes in at 11, because I just can't put him over like a Paul George, or I just think Paul George is better. He's more talented than Jimmy Butler. He is more athletic. You know, he's taller. He can shoot better. You know, I can't put Jimmy Butler. I understand Jimmy Butler has the mentality. He has the defensive presence, and he's a great scorer in his own right. And his work ethic is off the charts as well. But I just can't put him over a Paul George type player or whatever. So that puts Jimmy Butler at 11. But understanding that, Jimmy Butler, I expect to have an outstanding season, because if you look at what they got building over there in Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns anchoring that defense. Hopefully we see a step forward in that defense. It's still a Thibodeau system. So Thibodeau is probably the best, if not the best, definitely one of the best defensive minds in the NBA. All right, and I think that's important as well. They have, Jeff Teague in there running the show, who I think Jeff Teague is a little underrated. I think Jeff Teague is a little bit better than people give him credit for. He is a one-time All-Star. I believe it's one time. It could be even, he could have had another All-Star appearance as well. And he has Wiggins. Now, Wiggins is a little iffy, wishy-washy or whatever. But as long as he's not the focal point, as long as he's not like the main offensive weapon or whatever, I think it's all right. I think defensively, Jimmy Butler will help him out a lot as far as becoming a better wing defender on an NBA level. So Jimmy Butler, from the leadership to his offensive game to his defensive abilities, is definitely 11 or higher. But I have him at 11 on my list. So number 10, you have John Wall. John Wall is giving you 23 points and almost 11 assists per game. All right. He's the fastest guy in the entire league. He's somebody who is still kind of a pass first point guard, a true point guard, but is still carrying the team offense. He has help. He has Bradley Beal. He has Otto Porter. He has Markieff Morris. He has help. But he's still shouldering the majority of the load, right, for the Washington Wizards. He's a matchup problem for anybody. No point guards in the NBA can guard him. They can't stay in front of him for 2 seconds, much less to actually trying to stop him. He gets to the basket whenever he wants to, and his three-point shot is developing. It's coming along. Every year it's a little bit better. John Wall is somebody who I think will continue to take steps forward on this list, but for this year, in my opinion, he's the number 10 best player in the NBA, all right? Number 9, I have none other than Paul George. Now, Paul George has been holding down the Indiana Pacers for years. He took them to the Eastern Conference Finals multiple years. Now, he did have good teams around him. At first, he had Danny Granger, and then after Danny Granger, got hurt and old or whatever, then he had David West. He had George Hill. Lance Stevenson used to be good and used to be a good help to him as well. He had Roy Hibbert. Remember, Roy Hibbert was good for a little while. He had help, but he was the leader of that franchise. He was taking them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, of course, they were taking L's to LeBron and the Miami Heat or whatever, but at that time, really, who wasn't, right? Paul George broke his leg, and it kind of derailed the arc of his career a little bit. But in recent years, he's been coming back. And coming back stronger. And last year, he had a very strong season. He is a two-way player. He is somebody who can play, both wing positions. He can play shooting guard or small forward or whatever. He's good handling the ball or whatever, scoring in ISO sets or whatever. He's good playing off ball, moving without ball, moving off the screens or whatever. You could place him in any position on the court and he can be valuable for you. And then defensively, he's somebody who can be a defensive stopper, depending on who you're playing them on. Paul George is a very, very, very versatile player, a player who is incredibly useful in today's NBA, right? And that's why I have him. He's a little bit more useful in that way than Jimmy Butler in my opinion. And he's a little bit better. He's a little bit more experienced. He's a little bit better than John Wall at this point in his career. So that's why I have Paul George, number 9. All right. Number 8, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, Giannis at one point in the near future may be number 1 on this list once whoever's number 1 starts to fade a little bit, starts to get old or whatever. But Giannis Antetokounmpo has everything you want in a player. Number 1, he's freakishly long. He's 6'11", but then his arms are freakishly long. And then he has all these skills. He has all these guard skills. If you ever watch the Milwaukee Bucks play, he has the ball most of the time. He's the primary ball handler. That allows the Bucks to play 2 shooting guards sometimes. I mean, Malcolm Brogdon plays the point guard, but is he really a true point guard? He plays that position well, but because he doesn't have to play it the whole game. He shares the playmaking and the offense initiation with Antetokounmpo. I fully expect Antetokounmpo to take another full step this year when it comes to his development as a basketball player. Every year he's getting better and improving this. The next thing for Antetokounmpo is to add that 3-point shot. And once he adds that 3-point shot, it's going to be very tough to deal with this guy. It's already very, very tough to deal with this guy. But once he adds that 3-point shot, and if he can get consistent from that 3-point shot, it's going to be impossible to deal with Antetokounmpo. So he's coming in at number 8. All right. Now, Antetokounmpo at number 7 could have easily been switched, but I have a couple issues with putting Antetokounmpo over Anthony Davis. Now, Anthony Davis is number 7. Now, what can you really say about Anthony Davis? Anthony Davis is the future of the NBA, really. He's somebody who's like 6'11". He has guard skills. He played point guard in high school before he had that crazy growth spurt. So he still has, good ball handling skills. He's a good passer. He has a good court vision or whatever. He can get you about 12 rebounds a game. Anthony Davis just has, everything you need from a basketball player. And in today's NBA, you really need that defensive versatility. Somebody who on a screen can step out and, slide his feet with a point guard or whatever. Because that's a lot of times that's what possessions come down to. So you got Anthony Davis, somebody giving you 28 points, giving you 12 rebounds a game. You really can't beat that. So the reason I put Anthony Davis over Giannis Antetokounmpo is just because Anthony Davis is a more proficient scorer at this point, and I think at this point defensively he's still above the production you can get from Antetokounmpo defensively. Anthony Davis will still get you about 2.2 blocks a game, and he even gets you 1.3 steals. So Anthony Davis at this point is a little bit better And then if you were to take two teams with equal talent, right, and you put Anthony Davis on one side and you put Antetokounmpo on the other side, I feel like Anthony Davis's team would win, just because I feel like he has a little bit more impact. Antetokounmpo is more versatile, can do more things than Anthony Davis, but Anthony Davis is has a little bit more impact than Antetokounmpo. Now I know what you're gonna say. Well, it doesn't show because Anthony Davis hasn't had a lot of success with his basketball teams. Well, his basketball teams has been bad. If you look at Antetokounmpo's team, the Bucks are very cleverly put together. They're a team of, tall, long, lanky, long arm guys or whatever. Everybody on that team fits that description. The team is built around Antetokounmpo in a very intelligent way. If you look at the Orleans Pelicans, they are not built around Anthony Davis in any kind of intelligent way. They're not even really built. They're just kind of trying to get any asset they can and throw it on the team and hope in the future maybe they may be able to flip it for somebody who fits, right? But as of right now, Anthony Davis hasn't had a team, and at times I found myself feeling bad for Anthony Davis. I remember last year at the beginning of the season, he was like having 50-point games or whatever, and they were still losing just because he didn't have a team, right? So I don't take team success in this equation because I feel like Anthony Davis doesn't have a fair footing when it comes to, okay, well, Giannis has made the playoffs the last couple years and Anthony Davis hasn't. Well, Anthony Davis hasn't had a team. All right, so number 6. All honesty, if we were talking talent, if we're just strictly talking talent, I feel like I could put Anthony Davis over James Harden too. But it's not just about talent, man. Now, even though I just went on that long spiel about how it's not fair to judge Anthony Davis on team success because he hasn't had a team, it's not fair for me to place him over James Harden because James Harden has been leading his team to the playoffs every single year, to one of the higher seeds in the playoffs. Every single year. Is in an MVP voting runner-up like every year. That's what James Harden is doing. Now, talent-wise, there's not anybody in the top 5 of the NBA when it comes to top 5 players in the NBA that you can take out and insert James Harden in. So for the foreseeable future, James Harden is just going to be number 6 looking into the top 5. There's not anybody in the top 5 you can remove to put James Harden in, right? So with that being the case, it just is what it is. James Harden is number 6 on this list, and he will probably be number 6 for the foreseeable future, like I said. But there's not too much you could really say about James Harden. James Harden is a brilliant basketball player. Me personally, I don't love the ISO. I can't stand watching ISO after ISO after ISO. The year before D'Antoni came, I could not bear to watch James Harden. But last year, watching him was very, very impressive, right? Because they switched him over to point guard. He's not even a point guard. He's not even used to having the ball that much. Now, when you say, well, he has the ball anyway, it's different. It's a difference between having a high usage rate as a shooting guard and having a high usage rate as a point guard. If you're a point guard, they depend on you to have the ball every single possession. They depend on you to create every single possession, to create for your teammates on every single possession. If you're just a ball dominant shooting guard, you have the ball really when you're looking for your offense, and if somebody's open, you can kick it to them if the opportunity arises, but you're really looking for your own offense. With that in mind, I just really respect James Harden and what he's been able to do. Last year, with Russell having the monumental triple-double, he got pretty close himself, right? At 29, 11, and I think probably 8 assists or something like that. Somewhere close to a triple-double, but close enough, right? So very impressive. James Harden, number 6. Now, this is where it gets tough. Number 4 and number 5, in my humble opinion, are equals, right? I'm going to rank 1 4 and 1 5, but they're really 4A, 4B, right? And those two guys are Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry. These guys are equals on the basketball court. You can't convince me that Steph Curry is better than Russell Westbrook. You can't convince me that Russell Westbrook is better than Steph Curry. They affect the game in different ways, but they both are equal in my opinion. Russell Westbrook has an all-around game, but he has the ability to play an all-around game. He's really somebody whose main threat is to get to the basket. He's so explosive and so fast and so quick. That first step, he can get to the basket on anybody. Similar to John Wall. He can get to the basket and he can finish over anybody. So your defense has to play him a certain way to try to stop the penetration, because if he gets the penetration, he's going to score every single time. Now, Steph Curry doesn't necessarily have that type of athleticism. He's not that explosive of an athlete. He's not nearly as fast as Russell Westbrook is, right? He can't get to the basket like that. He can get to the basket and he can finish high off the backboard, but it's different. Like I said, it's very, very different than how Russell kills you. Steph kills you outside. That high ball screen, as soon as he turns the corner, and I said that on some of my other videos, as soon as he turns that corner and he sees a little bit of daylight, that ball's going up and that ball's going in. Teams have to overreact so dramatically to a simple ball screen that they have to use multiple resources to try to trap him or give him another defender to look at, or switch, or do something to try to stop him from coming off that screen cleanly. Because if he comes off clean and he gets a look at that basket, that's 3 points. And we going the other way. So Steph Curry and Russell Westbrook are true equals. If you are requiring me to rank them, I would rank Steph 5 and Russ 4. But you can go Steph 4, Russ 5. They're equals in my humble opinion. All right. So that's 4 and 5. 4A, 4B, whatever you want to say. Number 3, none other than Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is an awesome basketball player, man. Kawhi Leonard is somebody who affects the game in so many ways. Defensively, we all know about Kawhi Leonard's defense, right? We all know that he disrupts basically everything an offense is trying to do. The whole offensive game plan is in peril when the Kawhi Leonard is on the court, because he just disrupts everything you're trying to do. He sniffs out your plays. He sniffs out, whatever action you're trying to run. Whatever your goal is, he sniffs it out, and he defends it well. Right? He's a great help defender. He's a great on-ball defender. He can guard in the post. He can guard on the perimeter. But that's not even what this is about, man. It's the fact that he's added such an outstanding offensive game to go with the defense. So not only is he a defensive stopper, he can stop you on defense, but you can't stop him on defense. A year ago, he shot a career high from the three-point line. He's had another good year from the three-point line. He shoots them very, very efficiently. And then, if you take him in a couple steps, his mid-range game is absolutely impeccable. His little post-up game, or whatever, when he does the fadeaway, the patented fadeaways, you can't stop it. He does that on anybody. It doesn't matter the size of the defender, no matter how strong the defender is, no matter how quick. He gets to his spots and he'll drain you. He'll drain shot after shot the whole game. One moment in Kawhi Leonard's real arrival as a superstar was in the playoffs against Memphis, man. When he had they lost the game, but when he had that run at the end of the game, when he was going back and forth with Mike Conley, he scored all those points back to back to back. That just really showed you the level that Kawhi Leonard can play at, which is an incredibly, incredibly high level. So that's Kawhi Leonard, number 3. Number 2, KD, Kevin Durant. Now, I know a lot of people don't love Kevin Durant these days because they feel like, he drained the competitiveness out of the NBA. He joined the Warriors. He couldn't beat the Warriors. He should have been able to beat the Warriors. He was up 3-1 against the Warriors. He lost, and then he joined them, and now they're unbeatable, and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, Kevin Durant is still an outstanding basketball player. He's still absolutely unstoppable. He's so tall, and his release point on his jumper is so high that you can't really even get a good contest on his jump shots. You can't even get a good contest. The best you can hope for is to face guard him, and his shot is so wet it don't really matter if he can see the basket or not. He's still going to drain it. And on top of having such an outstanding stroke from range, even at 7 feet tall, he's still so nimble and agile and quick. He can still move like a guard. Now, seriously, how do you guard that? How do you guard a skinny 7-footer who can kill you from the three-point line? But if you overcommit to trying to defend that three, he'll blow past you in a second and dunk. How do you defend that? That's just not fair. That's too good. Whereas some of the other players, have all these physical attributes or whatever that makes them so strong, so quick, blah 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 blah. Kevin Durant has that stuff too. It looks different when it's him, right? But if you really look at how he's made up and his skill set and his basketball IQ, he's really somebody who can't be guarded, right? So that's number 2, Kevin Durant. And number 1 is none other than King James himself. At 32 years old, somehow dude managed to average 26 and nearly 9 rebounds and 9 assists. Career highs in assists and rebounds at year 32. Somebody who's been to the finals 8 times overall, 7 times straight. The M. Bison of the Eastern, the M. Bison of the NBA, basically. So you got to beat everybody, and then after you beat everybody, then you got to go face LeBron, and you got to beat LeBron. Dude has been dominating the NBA for a decade, and is still going at a high level. There's times on the court that he still looks like the fastest player out there. He still is the strongest player out there. He's still the smartest player out there on the floor. He's still the best passer on the floor. Best playmaker. And we never really see him focused on trying to score the basketball. It seems like he gets 30 points just basically getting easy buckets, fast breaks, about two 3-pointers, maybe 3 3-pointers a game or something like that. Free throws. He gets 30 easily. 30 points is something that players struggle. If you get 30 points, oh man, I had a career game, 32 points, a career high for some players. LeBron gets 32 points in his sleep, basically. It looks like he's not even trying out there finish the game with 32 points. A basketball genius, even at this stage in his career, can barely sense a little. Like if you watch him play today, and then you go back and watch 2009, 2008, or 2008, 2009 season, then you can be like, oh, well, I guess he has slowed down a little bit, right? But when you watch today's game, he's amongst one of the fastest guys on the court. He's one of the high flyers on the court still. It's not till you go back to the old tapes that you could be like, oh, well, I guess LeBron is a little bit slower than he used to be. This guy is one of the elder statesmen of the NBA and is still giving everybody grief. Coaches don't know what to do with him. You have to coach against Tyronn Lue, and you got to coach against LeBron because he with the photographic memory thing or whatever he got going on, he knows your plays. Especially if you're in the Eastern Conference and he sees you 3-4 times a year, he knows all your plays. Still number 1 at 32 years old in season 15, LeBron James. All right, let me know what you think about my list. If you disagree, if you agree, whatever the case may be. Once again, if you like the content, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And as always, if you are new to exceedthehype.com, you just got to click that subscribe button and join the Hype Squad. All right, see you next time.